So how do you guys determine what debt payoff strategy to use? On this channel, we focus a lot on velocity banking, but there are other debt payoff strategies out there. And recently I've gotten a lot of comments on the pros and cons of the other strategies and why I don't talk about them on this channel. So in today's video, I'm literally going to dive in and discuss how do you determine what debt payoff strategy to use, because with so many options out there, it can be very frustrating. So I want to make it so easily digestible in terms of the information and the questions that you can ask yourself to determine what debt payoff strategy to use for your specific situation. So to figure out which strategy is the best, there are 3 questions that you need to ask yourself before you get started. And we'll just jump right into the whiteboard. So the very first question you have to ask yourself is, do you have access to a debt tool? So I created a video that lists out all of the debt tools that you have at your disposal to do velocity banking. And if you look on there and if you don't have anything from that, then it would be to your advantage to use some of these other debt payoff strategies. So one of the most popular debt payoff strategies is the debt snowball. Another one is the debt avalanche. They're very similar, but the way that the debt snowball works is it starts with the lowest one and then builds its way up to the highest, so you get that quick win of paying off the smallest debt first. And the debt avalanche just pays off the highest interest loan first, and then it works its way backwards. They're very similar strategies in terms of the actual practical application, but different in terms of the ones that they attack. Another one is the cash flow index, and this one is focused more so on increasing your cash flow. This is the one that I like to use because we're all about increasing our cash flow to do velocity banking, so it works very well with the strategies that we're already using. Then question number 2 you have to ask yourself is, do you have any high interest debts? And usually this is going to come in the form of credit cards and personal loans. So my recommendation and my guidelines is that if you have a personal line of credit that is 12% or higher, I would consider that high interest debt. And we want to be able to convert that to lower interest debt, and that's where velocity banking comes into play. So that's one of the main strategies that we focus on in this channel. But you can also consider debt consolidation, and there will be specific situations where debt consolidation would be a better option, especially if you have a higher amount or a higher balance on these cards. Debt consolidation might be a better option because you can wipe out all the debt in one go, whereas in velocity banking we might not have access to a high amount, and then that would force us to pay interest in 2 places at the same time, which we really don't want to do. When we make a velocity banking chunk, we want to wipe out a lot of debt very quickly, and if we don't have the ability to do that, then debt consolidation would be a better alternative at this point. And finally, the last thing you have to do is run the numbers. So this is not a question that you have to ask yourself, but this is something that you should always be doing because it's very important to understand the math. This literally is just a math equation in order to solve your personal finance. There's not a lot of objectivity to it. It is running the numbers, looking at your specific situation, and then picking the best strategy at that point. So in a lot of cases, you might be able to combine strategies that might be the best situation for you. So again, I'm not opposed to using other strategies, right? I don't care what you use. I just want the quickest solution. So if velocity banking is not the quickest solution, then we'll use the other strategies. But if velocity banking and you run the numbers cuts your amount of time in half or sooner, then it would be to your advantage to do that. So in some cases we might have to combine strategies. So if you run the numbers, you find that maybe for 90 days it might be beneficial to do velocity banking, but then after that you can switch to the debt snowball if the numbers make sense, right? We don't want too much interest piling up, we don't want additional cost, so then it might make sense to do the debt snowball method for, let's say, a year, and then go back if you accumulate any high interest debt over time. So that's the way that I like to decide which debt payoff strategy to use. It's not always black and white. It may switch over time, and you can combine strategies. Like I like using the cash flow index and velocity banking at the same time. because it increases my cash flow, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to increase our cash flow, 10x our income, so we can eliminate debt as quickly as possible. So hopefully this clears up how you guys can decide what type of debt payoff strategy to use. I know it can be very frustrating with so many options to decide which one to use, and by asking yourself these very simple questions, it's only 3 things that you have to consider when you're deciding what strategy to use. It can simplify the process, and that's what we're all about on this channel, is to simplify your finances and help you live the life that you want to, so you don't have to worry about this stuff. Right? At the end of the day, we want to focus on other things in our life. And once we have our finances in checks, everything will take care of itself. That's all I got for you guys today. I hope you have an amazing and blessed day. Thank you for watching this video, and I will talk to you soon.